going on, everybody? It's Retro Handhelds 24. Today we're going to be looking at PS2 emulation on the Retroid Pocket Flip 2. So this is the game. I'm going to go over the settings real quick to get the game running correctly. So you're going to click this icon right here. You're going to go to General Settings. You're going to set Optimal Settings. Set Optimal Settings. Okay, this is the optimal settings for the game, which sucks, right? We're barely moving. This is kind of like how the game boots up and works, where it's just unplayable, right? So what we're going to do is go back to the icon, and then we're going to go back to General Settings. And remember, it's the icon, not the gear, not the 3 lines. It's the icon. You go to Set Fast Settings, okay? It's going to change it by 4:3, but now the game works perfectly. It's smooth 30. There will be no more slowdown. And you'll be able to play the game, just fine, right? We had a lot of slowdown right here, no slowdown. Go back, we're gonna go to the gear icon again. We don't like that 4:3, so what we're gonna do is go back to General Settings, and then we're gonna clear settings. Settings game cleared. We'll get our 16:9 back. Now we got 16:9, and now we're gonna go back here. And we're going to go to the gear icon, and then we're going to go to, not the circle, but the gear icon. We're going to go to graphics. Yours might not be in Vulkan, so make sure to set it to Vulkan. I'm at 4x native, and I have, not here. I have frame limit unlocked, so it's playing max speed. Now I have this on because I have the graphics at 4x. So since it's so demanding, the game speed kind of catches up to normal gameplay at 4x. So check this out. This is 4x. It's a little fast, but not too fast, right? And you can lower the clock speeds too by just toggling that thing back on and lowering lowering the clock speeds to I don't know, 160 I think is good. But this is a cutscene. But right now, 4x, we're getting 60 almost, right? And with those little tweaks we just did, despite my terrible gameplay, the game works. There's no more slowdown. So we kind of just tricked the system. So when you do this little thingy and you go to set fast settings, okay, and then it gives you a 4:3, and then you go to clear settings. Clear settings doesn't really clear everything. So if we go to the gear icon and we go to system, it keeps that underclocking, those presets, it keeps those. So instead of figuring all this out, which I was going to do, I don't have time for that. In the icon and in general settings and in fast settings, click that, then click clear system settings, because it'll give you the 4:3. It'll get rid of the 4:3, excuse me. And it'll give you the 16:9, and then it's unlocked. So if we go to the gear icon, I'm using Vulkan 4x native, and I have frame limit unlocked. So in other words, if I drop the resolution, let's say we'll take it down to, we'll do 3. All right, with frame limit unlocked, we'll see how fast it plays now. So now we're getting above 60 frames a second, 70, some dips. But with those preset settings for fast settings, there's no more dipping because it's going based off a 30 frames a second game, not a 60 frames a second game. And with that said, you could do all kinds of tweaking. The easiest tweak I did after applying those settings was, just maxing it out basically. We could do 5x, right? We'll do 5x, and then we'll go system, make sure it's still uncapped. Yeah, because enable frame limit, it's turned off. So this is 5x. and the game's speed is at 30 frames a second, right? That's what it's thinking. And with those presets, it's in the green because we're above 30 frames a second. But this is 5x. So instead of trying to figure out, like, you know, how to get the game running at 60 frames a second, it's easier to do it this way. And besides that little cutscene glitch, there's no other glitches I've noticed. The gameplay is super smooth. So right now, frame limit's unlocked. We're getting still above 30. This is 5x. I don't even know what that is. That's should say on here. So what was that, 2K? We're playing at 2K. It's ridiculous, right? This screen only goes out to 1080p. So let's do 1080p. We'll go to settings, graphics. What is that? 1080p is what, 3x? No, even that's still high. So what is 1080p? I thought that would be 3x. 2.75? No, so it's like 2.5 is 1080p. My bad, I should have known this. So, all right, 1080p, right? This is the max, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's still higher. 1288 by, maybe it's because it's 4 by 3. Okay, well, we'll just do 2.5. So 2.5 is going to be ridiculous because we dropped the res from 5 to 2.5, so we're going to move super fast, okay? So again, not everybody likes to play like that, but we'll get the 60 frames that everybody wants and then some. So we'll go to settings, go to graphics, go to system, and then turn this on. Let's do 160 and see how that plays. So at 160, we're getting like 95, 71. Here's some dips, but as you can see, the game is now very, very playable, right? Mind you, I was playing at 5x earlier with basically, as I kill myself, basically like the natural frame rate. Maxing out the resolution 5K, which is 2K or over 2K, I'm not sure. And then frame limit unlocked, it plays just above 30 frames a second with no slowdown, which is ridiculous on this device. Again, this device, I swear, it just impresses me more and more the more I play with it. But you don't need to play like that because it's just going to drain your battery. So this is 1080p or close to it because it's a 4x3, so whatever. 2.5. Our GPU is like 50%. These stats are nothing compared to what they were when I maxed it out. So your battery life is going to be better now too. Frame rate wise, you're going to get close to 60, but because we have the core speed at 160, it's playing faster, and since we up the resolution, it's kind of like finding that equal balance. But I think 160 with 2.5 from this is pretty good. It might be, again, a little too fast, but if you don't like to play fast-paced like the way I'm doing it, like speed hacks and everything, and you just want the game to work, that's no problem. You can set the core speed to 100. And I'll go over it one more time because it's so simple. So in the beginning, what you do is you click the icon, go to general settings, you set fast settings. You set fast settings, it's going to make it a 4x3. Just go back into the menu, click the icon again, and then clear settings, and then it'll give you your 16:9. Okay. But let's say, like the way I'm playing right now, you don't want to play that fast. You just want to play 30 frames a second, like just normal speed. You just go back into the menu and just click apply fast settings. But this time, it's not going to give you the 4x3. As you can see, it's 16:9. And as you can see, we're going to move a lot slower, but there's going to be still no slowdown. And as you can see, there's no dips or anything. This is, I believe, what the game is supposed to be running at. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments about if the game runs naturally at 60 or if it runs naturally at 30. I really think this is a 30 frames per second game, especially for the PS2, but you know, I could be wrong. But yeah, this is natural. This is normal gameplay. But now, since what we did, there's no more dips. There's no nothing. The default settings for that fast settings did something with underclocking, overclocking, whatever. But there's no noticeable difference. The game works, right? And yeah, let's get rid of this cutscene. Besides this glitchy part, which I don't care for, but you know, it is what it is. If you really want to play this game, the gameplay is perfect in my from what I've seen. And then again, if you want to play faster, you would just go to clear settings, right? And then go to the gear icon, not in the icon, but the gear icon. That's where you adjust things. Go to graphics, make sure you have Vulkan. We can upscale it to, you know, 2.5 is pretty much 1080p. I'll try 2.25 because I am kind of curious. That's just because it's a 4:3. That's what it's thinking. So, you know, can't really help that. But, you know, if you want to be crazy, you could do like I did. 5x, right? And then scroll down to system. Turn off frame limit. And now we're still going to get above 30 and we're playing 5 times the resolution of a 4:3. But even with these crazy settings, you're still getting above 30 frames a second, sometimes 40. And we're pushing the device, that GPU, 100%, right? That's just, I'm just showing off the power of this capability, right? But realistically, what you would want to do is go to graphics. Sweet spot would be 2.5. And then system, turn this on if it's not. And then, you know, I think 160 is pretty good. We could try like 150 because we dropped the res so much. And then our frames are still like well above 60. It's like 80, but with some dips. So, but I think 150, 160 is that sweet spot, especially for gameplay, and it doesn't look half bad. It's as close as it's going to get to 1080p with those default settings, meaning like the ranges. I died. But yeah, I just wanted to show that off. This game now works. You can play it at 60, you can play above 60, and you won't have any slowdowns. The trick is that you start the game with the icon, go to general settings, you set fast settings. It's going to give you a 4:3. Just go back in and then clear settings. Then go to the gear icon, go to graphics. I like Vulkan. OpenGL works, but the colors are not as good, so I recommend Vulkan. 2.5 is pretty much 1080p, so you don't really need to go higher than that. You can, but I'm not sure what it's going to do for you other than drain your battery. So 2.5, and then in system, and this is in the gear icon this time, you can set the normal speed to 150 or 160. I think those are two the best. If you want to be crazy, you could turn frame limit off and then you'll go super fast. But regardless, now with that setting, the fast, now that you set fast game settings, and even though you cleared them, if you go into the gear icon and you go to system at the top, this would not be looking the way it does right now. It would be like 100 and whatever. It kept those settings. So the underclocking, whatever, this is from the fast settings. So with those presets, it does make the game work. And even after you clear the game settings, it still keeps it. So now you don't have to worry. You just go out. And once you clear the game settings too in the icon, you get rid of the 4:3, so you get your 16:9. And you can play however you like. Which I think I need like something to drink. My throat is like coughing. So I apologize for that. But the game works. I think this is the best I've seen it work on YouTube. And I know if you guys play around PS2, you know that the underclocking stuff, you need to apply it. But instead of trying to figure out that sweet spot, this is kind of does it for you. So right now, we're playing just at the normal game speed. But there would be all kinds of crazy slowdown, right? And again, if this is too slow because it's like 30 frames a second and anything higher is going to be green, you would just go to the gear icon, go to system, right? Oh, but it's at 150%. Well, then go to the icon. And then clear game settings. And now we got our speed back. And again, I think 150 was probably the sweet spot for 2.5 resolution. Maybe a little lower, because it's still kind of hard. You don't want to play too fast. But look how smooth this is now. The game is so playable. I'm trying really hard not to make this video too long, because I just want to make it short and sweet. But yeah. It's kind of confusing. But once you get the hang of it, you can apply your own tweaks and to resolution as well as the core speed to see what you feel works the best for you. But there's no more red. There's no more red dips. It's not going based off 60, it's going based off 30, so everything's going to be in the green. And because of those presets and the fact that they stay there, you have no more slowdown. And now the game is very, 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 very playable. To the point where, again, if you really wanted to be crazy, you can. You can play this at, let's do 6x, okay? Just to be freaking annoying. And then we'll turn off frame limit and see if we still get above 30. Okay, 6 resolution, we do get slowdown, but not much, right? I wouldn't recommend this because this is gonna be the GPU's well over 100, even though it doesn't show it, right? But that's again because we have the resolution at 6 native X, which is ridiculous. But you can play it at 5x. And that's like almost normal speed. Some dips, yeah. But my recommendation, because again, it's 1080p screen, you don't really need to go higher than 2.5. And then with frame limit unlocked, this is how fast you'll move. Pretty fast. It says it in there, like 100 frames a second. When you're not moving, when you're moving, like 80, 70, 80, 90. Still like way too fast, right? But yeah, I haven't seen anybody be able to get this game working like this on Android. So take full advantage. I try to make this short and sweet. I'll go over it one last time. And that is, once you boot the game up, you click the circle icon, go to general settings, you click fast settings. It'll change it to a 4:3. Go back into the menu, click the icon, general settings, and then clear settings. Then you go to the gear icon, and then you go to graphics. Make sure you have Vulkan 2.5, I recommend. And then if you want to have like a closer to smoother gameplay, turn normal speed to 150. You could do 200%. I just feel like that's just not gonna be, it's gonna be too fast. 150 is the sweet spot. Make sure that this is turned on so 150 actually works. And then at 2.5 at 150, I mean, look at this. This is perfect. No slowdown, no nothing. And again, you can reduce the core speed, that's up to you. That's my personal preference. But yeah, the game works, no more glitching. You will see that weird glitch between cutscenes every now and then, but as far as gameplay goes, there's no interruptions. Like, there was so much slowdown, so much red, and now with this, like, the game just works. And even though you clear the game settings, it keeps the underclocking and whatever it needs to have it run the way it was, but you can increase the speed limit. So now you can just trick the system like I'm doing. And at 2.5, our GPU is not working too hard. I mean, you have energy to spare, basically, which means you'll have more game life with the battery. And you'll be able to play this with no problem. But yeah, I think this plays awesome now. Pretty excited about it. So let me know what you guys think. This is my version of getting this game to work, or basically my take on getting it to work. Hope this was helpful. Please take advantage of those settings. Again, you could just adjust the core speed and the resolution to your liking, and you get your 16:9 and everything will work. Just apply those settings. So if you made it this far, again, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.